This brings us to the last subtopic in this session, which is auction sale. Now, there are various kinds of sales. We can make sales by description, we can make sales by sample, we can make sales by sample as well as description. We can make sales by tenders. We can also make sales by auctions. Now this has become a very common word after IPL has come into the picture, because in IPL we've seen a lot of auctions taking place of the players. Every year we see some players going, switching teams. One team buys the players, the next year the other team buys him. So this all happens through auctions. But what exactly is auction and what are the provisions related to auction sale under the Sale of Goods Act 1930? Let's study them. So what is auction sale? Auction sale is a method of sale, wherein bids are invited. You would have seen that, paintings or some other artworks like, some craft pieces or, some jackets, some vintage, cups, plates of, belonging to some Maharaja, or some vintage cars are kept in auction. Okay, so what the seller does is he brings the good that he wants to sell before everybody, all the prospective buyers, and then he invites bids from them. Bids is the offer price given by the buyer, and the sale takes place whoever gives the highest bid. The sale is given, is done to him. The goods are given to him. The sale completes there. Whoever gives the highest bid. Let's say, we auction this pen, and there are 10 buyers sitting before us. So the first buyer says, I'll buy this pen for 10 rupees. So suddenly the second buyer stands up and says, I'll buy it for 15. The third says, I'll buy it for 25. So now what is happening is each buyer is giving a higher bid. So this is how it happens. The next bidder has to give a higher bid. And this process goes on until and unless there are no more bids. So the sale will happen to the highest bidder. You would have seen in many movies, a lot of homes, bungalows, or bikes or cars being auctioned. So what happens is buyers keep on bidding, they keep on increasing their bids, and finally that good is sold to the highest bidder. So this is typically how an auction sale is conducted. But the important part here is the auctioneer. The person who conducts this auction sale is called as the auctioneer. He becomes the agent of the seller. He becomes the agent of the seller. And he tries to sell it at the maximum price. And this is the reason why sale happens to the maximum bidder, highest bidder. So he tries to increase the price of the product. He encourages the buyers to bid for more, to bid at a higher price. And then he gets some commission at the price at which the good goes. Now, how does he announce that the sale has happened? You would have seen that the auctioneer bangs, he has a desk and he has a hammer. So he bangs the hammer on the desk which pronounces that the sale has happened. Or there may be some other method. Many times the auctioneers bring a ball and they bang on the desk. Or, many times what happens is they clap to announce that the sale has happened. So in any other customary way, normally used ways, the auctioneer will bring an end to this auction process, and this will mark that the sale has happened. So it may be in any way, by banging of, falling off the hammer, or falling off the ball, or clapping of hands, or any other customary way. Okay, so this is how an auction sale happens. Now let's see what are the provisions related to auction sale in this act. First, we've already studied that a property or goods are sold by inviting bids publicly. The prospective buyers are called and they bid. So the seller or the auctioneer invites the bids publicly. It's a public process. Next, the goods are sold to the highest bidder. I've already told you. The goods are sold to the highest bidder. Bidding, it's a process wherein each bidder will give a higher price. So ultimately, the last bidder who gives the highest price, the goods will be sold to him. Auctioneer is the agent of the seller. I've already told you he is appointed by the seller to sell his goods on account of auction, by auction. Now, following points are required to be noted. These are the provisions under the Indian Sale of Goods Act 1930 with regards to auction sale. First, goods may be sold in lots. If there are a lot of goods, let's say there is a furniture and furniture relating to some king some 3-4 centuries ago is being put on auction. So now it may be difficult to sell the whole of furniture together. So the auctioneer may sample them or divide them in lots, and he may conduct an auction of each of the lots, not the whole thing together but in lots. That is perfectly valid. Second, completion of sale is done by fall of hammer or clap or any other customary way. Third, there may be a reserve price or an upset price. It is also called as the base price. Now, what is this price? This is the price that the seller wants at the minimum. This is the minimum price at which he will be agreeable to sell. Let's say, the furniture is being sold and the bidding starts at 2 lakh rupees. Now, seller may announce that the reserve price for this furniture is 5 lakh rupees. So many times what he does is he invites the bids beyond 5 lakh rupees, above 5 lakh rupees. Many times what happens is he starts the bidding below the reserve price. But in case the highest bidder does not go beyond the minimum or the upset price, or we call it the reserve or the base price also. Let's say the highest bidder reaches 4,50,000 rupees, where 5 lakh is the minimum price or the upset price. Then whole of the auction process may be scrapped, which means there will be no sale in this case. However, if the bidder maximum or the highest bidder goes beyond this reserve price, let's say the highest bid comes to rupees 7 lakhs, then he may sell it to the highest bidder for this price. But if the reserve price is not achieved, he may cancel whole of the auction. Next, now this is a very difficult thing to understand, that a seller is inviting bids from the prospective buyers. At the same time, he may also bid himself. He may himself also bid. But if he does that, he'll have to disclose it to the buyers. He may, he may do it, but if he does it, he'll have to disclose this fact to the prospective bidders, prospective buyers. Sellers normally do it to increase the price, so that the next bid comes at a higher price. But if they are doing this, if they are doing, bidding themselves, or their agent is bidding, then they'll have to disclose this fact amongst the bidders. And if he bids or through his agent, he has to inform, I've already told you. Pretended bidding. Now, he should not do this to increase the price. Pretended bidding means bidding done to increase the price. It should not be pretended bidding. The bidding process should be fair and validly conducted. It should not be fraudulently done. He should not put up his own people, his own agent, just to increase the price of the actual bidders. That is not legal. In such a case, the bidder who wins, the contract will be voidable at his option, because this is a fraud which the seller has done. So the contract becomes voidable at his option. Now, these were some restrictions put on the seller. There is a restriction which is put on the buyers as well, which is rigging or cartel formation is not allowed. Many times what happens is the buyers make a group amongst themselves. They decide not to increase the price. In such a case, what happens is the highest bidder wins, and then they share the proceeds that they get from the sale. What happens is this defeats the purpose of the auction. If buyers form a cartel, a group, and they do not bid, and ultimately the goods come to them because they are not bidding at a higher price. So whoever has bid at the highest price, the goods come to him, he sells the goods, and everybody shares the profit. Such a thing is not allowed. Such a cartel formation or a group formation of buyers or bidders is not allowed. This invalidates this auction sale. Okay.